Good morning. So today we have some more ballet tips for you. We are going to talk about line and alignment. So two different things, but they kind of encapsulate a whole picture of what you're creating in ballet or dance generally. Yes, you're moving and you're creating a flow of movements. However, through those movements, you're going from one position to the next, to the next, to the next. And at each position, and even in the transitions actually, you want to be creating what you'd say a balanced image. So you want your limbs to look nice and long and create a nice shape and a nice balance of movement. You can do things that are off balance, but then you need to be pulling somewhere else so that you can hold that position, but that's another whole other ball game. So we're talking, I'll deal with each section first. So first of all, we're talking line, okay? This is the shape that you create with your body. So, and you want that shape to be like overall balanced and, I don't like to say pleasing or appealing because it sounds like really strange, but a balanced image where you haven't got any sharp angles, unless that's the image you want to create. If you want to create like a kind of contorted, painful image, then yeah, obviously the choreography wants that, so then you create that. But in general, certainly in ballet, you want the lines to be soft and smooth. You don't want any spiky elbows or broken wrists or anything kind of interfering with a nice smooth line of your limbs and your body. And you kind of want it to be balanced. So for example, if your arms are out to second, for example, try and get it so that it's all in the camera, you don't want them to be one up, one down. Yeah, because again, that's not balanced, that's not proper second, so you want them to be nice and elongated and balanced, for want of a better word. Also, as I said, you don't want any broken wrists and elbows. You don't want handbag arms, yeah, so you want to be nice, lifted, feel a little bit of air under those elbows so that you get that lovely gentle curve. If I was to drop a piece of oil, if I was to drop a drop of oil on my arm, it should run down there, nicely drip off the end of my finger. Yeah, really nice and smooth. Different styles will be slightly different. I know certainly the Russian style is a little bit more of a sort of droop there, for want of a better word. But certainly RAD, it's all about keeping that elbow lifted, having the shoulder, then the elbow, then the wrist, with no actual awkward, ungainly angles. Quite a tricky one to get actually, because if you get your arms like that, yeah, that's all lovely, but my palms are facing down. So if I bring my arms into first, I have my hands like that, which is not very attractive. Or even you can get students doing that, which again isn't the best look. You kind of want them to rotate the forearm. So a real mechanical way of looking at it is if you rotate the upper arm inwards and then rotate the lower arm outwards, okay? Because actually people don't realise you can rotate your forearm quite easily without letting the elbow get involved. If you ask a little child to put their arms like that and then to turn their palms up or down, they will go like that with their elbows naturally, because they will not be sure how to do it. But then get them to hold their upper arm and they'll be like, whoa, I can actually move it. So, and adults as well, when we're first learning, we don't realise how much control we have over that lower part of our arm. So that's one way of getting the palms forward with those elbows lifted. Another thing you have to think about, you have to find that happy medium between that and that. Yeah, you don't want shoulders up here. So again, you have to engage the muscles underneath these shoulder blades, engage your core so you're not arching your back, and then feel those arms coming out. Okay, so that's one way of creating nice arms in that one position. And again, you've got third position. Again, thinking of the line of your body as well. You don't want third to be over here somewhere. It needs to be with the fingertip opposite your midriff. RAD is opposite the belly button. Royal Ballet School is a little bit higher than that, opposite the sternum. But again, different styles will be slightly different. So it's all about creating, if I do fifth, I'll bend my knees so you can see my fifth. It's again about shoulders down to create that length in your neck and feel like somebody's lifted your wrists up. So you haven't got any elbows, you've just got curves in your arms. Okay, so those are the arm elements. And again, things like arabesque, you want a nice diagonal line feeling through your hand. You don't want that where it's a broken line. Yes, so finding those positions, which are best done in front of a mirror actually, looking at yourself in the mirror going, oh, that looks all right, close my eyes. That's what it feels like if I go into that position. So that's my little tip to you. Get in front of a mirror and find those positions, see what they feel like, because obviously on stage or in front of a camera, unless it's a phone, you're not going to have a mirror so you can self-check yourself. Same with your legs, yeah? Literally, I haven't got my legs on camera here, but when you stretch your legs, it stretches right through the knee, through the ankle, right to the very tips of the toes. Yes, you've got lovely long lines of your legs. So those are the line elements. The alignment is more in relation to your positioning in relation to the space around you. You may well have heard people talk about your little box. I think of it more like a cube, yes, and if you think of it in a three-dimensional way, it's so much easier to think, oh yes, I'm going to have my centre of my chest opposite the corner of my cube, and then you can see, the audience can still see my back, hip and shoulder, whatever position I'm in, yeah? And that creates a nice line. Another way of thinking of it is if you have your front, your direct front as 12 o'clock on an old-fashioned clock, and you are then going to face, technically it should be 1:30, okay, but if you aim for 1 o'clock, you're going to be about hitting it about right, because generally if you aim for it, you'll slightly overshoot it. If you aim for 1:30, chances are you'll be looking at 2 o'clock and oh, there you can see I've lost my shoulder, okay, and I'm sort of ending up almost in profile. So those little things, really, really good tips for making sure you're aligned, either absolutely square to the front with shoulders and hips absolutely square, or slightly angled towards the corner of your personal cube. Yeah. If you had everyone facing the corner of the room, you'd have, if you had a row of dancers, everyone would be at different angles because they'd all be at different places in relation to the room. So it's a very not mechanical, but a very methodical way of making sure that every dancer is at exactly the right angle in a row. And also, even if you're on your own, it gives you that lovely pleasing, again that word again, a nice pleasing angle so you're visible, your shoulders are still visible to the audience, so you haven't gone into profile. If you are doing something in profile, obviously do it directly to that wall so that you're really, really are in profile, you're not kind of halfway off. Mirrors actually are really, really, I won't say helpful, they're really helpful at finding the line and alignment. However, whilst you're dancing, they can be really distracting. It's so easy to go, oh, is my line right? And then literally, can you see my shoulders already kind of half facing the front? You have to be facing that way because your eye line helps create that whole image, okay? So a few things to think about. So think about, you can go from bottom to top, top to bottom. Think about your alignment in relation to the room. Think about where you're looking. Think about the line of those arms. Are they nice and curved? Or if they're arabesque, are they straight but not so straight that you're hyperextending your elbows? And your legs, are they beautifully stretched with beautifully stretched feet on the end, ankles and toes? And think about that whole image that you're creating, because obviously dance is a visual thing, visual entity. And what you're wanting to do is go from one movement through a nice, very graceful movement into the next, and then the next, and then the next, and travel around the room and use your space and create this wonderful work of art in your movements. Okay, so that's your thing to think of this week. So think about where your chest, your shoulders and your hips and your chest are. With kids I talk belly button. Think about where your belly button's pointing, and that's really good for getting the alignment right. And then take it to the next level. Think about each limb, and is that creating a really beautiful line? Is it curved gently, or is it nice and straight? Do you feel that energy going from your core right out through those fingertips? And are your eyes enhancing that line? Lots to think about this week. It's a big subject, but when you get it right, it looks amazing. Okay, so Lovely to speak to you. I hope it helps. Feel free to put the comments below. Yes, if you're in Rochester or Strood, come along and do a class. That would be cool. If you're not, then we do online classes. If you can't work with our schedule, we have the Bridge Ballet Club, so you can come and join our classes anytime you like, night or day. 4 o'clock in the morning, you can go, right, do my ballet class. Get out of bed and do ballet class. Okay, lovely to speak to you. I hope my tips are helping, and I'll see you soon. Take care.